Hey yo, what is up? How do you feel about a KV-4 but better? Here we go. On the RU server, they're testing out this new KV-4 with an auto reloading mechanism. The model looks like a regular KV-4, maybe some changes here and there. There's a little penis right in the front there, pointing straight at you. It's like a machine gun. Yeah, a familiar looking tank, a menacing looking tank. A KV-4 was never the greatest tank, but it was never a bad tank. It had pretty good armor when it was side scraping. The reload was pretty good. It was pretty quick firing. But this one with an auto reloader, the slowest reload I think is the first shell is the quickest one, 8.15 seconds. The longest it would take was 12.18 if you fired all 3 shells, but the full reload only 31 seconds. That's pretty amazing. Imagine this tank barreling down, side scraping, and then firing 3 shots or 2 shots or whatever shots it takes to wear you down with 320 alpha each shot. That's pretty devastating. Well, it's not the 390 alpha, but 320. If he can fire 2 shots at you, that's 640 average. If he can get all 3 shots at you, that's 960 average. That's pretty devastating if you ask me. 1600 hit points, just like a regular heavy tank. 1200 horsepower. It has a lot of horsepower, but this is a pretty heavy platform. So the power to weight ratio isn't that great, only 11.85 seconds power to weight ratio. It's a pretty slow lumbering. You put it in a super heavy kind of category like a VK, kind of lumbering, slow. What do you expect from super heavy tank? 11.85 power to weight ratio, 26 kilometers an hour going forward, 12 in reverse. Rotation is pretty slow as well, 18.77. That is the hull rotation. Of course, the hull armor, 180 millimeters, not that great, but remember this is kind of like a side scraping tank. The front lower plate is still going to be a weak point, but side scraping is where it's going to be pretty good. But I suppose you can still shoot the back of the tank when it's side scraping. I think you can pen the top of the engine deck at the back when it's side scraping. So if you shoot there, I assume you can kind of like shoot the back of the engine and do some penetrating shots there. The turret is pretty good, 210 penetration. It's kind of like it has that rounded, sloped mantlet. Doesn't really have any kind of cupola or weak point at the top of the turret, so it's pretty good there. I'm just gonna assume this is the usual KV-4, but a little bit better. That's what I feel about the new KV-4T. However, of course, this is a RU server KV-4T. We don't know if it will, come to the rest of the world. It probably will at some point. Maybe when all the activities in Europe is over, maybe this will happen. Who knows? Or maybe they will have some kind of secret backdoor handshake where they're still sharing assets and information, and they might still introduce this to the rest of the world. We will never know. But 3 shots, auto loader, auto reloader, 31 second full reload. The dispersion is not that bad, 0.36. We don't know what the moving dispersions are, but even if it had terrible moving dispersion, this is still going to be a forward attacking tank. I feel like this is still going to be a pretty annoying tank to be fighting with, even if it has poor moving dispersions. Aim time is 2.49 seconds. Plenty of time to wear you down with its 320 alpha gun. This is pretty tough to fight against. The only thing that is holding it back, it's going to be that 6 degrees of gun depression. Pretty piss poor gun depression, which is good for the rest of us, I suppose. If you want to escape it, just don't go into the city and face this tank. Otherwise, it's going to be you're just going to feed in hit points. Every time you see him, he's going to take away 900 hit points from you. But other than that, it doesn't have a very good view range, only 350 meters of view range. So you want to avoid this tank. Just stay away from any position where you're going to have to side scrape against other heavy tanks, because this tank will definitely be there. Try to stay away from flat ground city where this tank will be, and then try to win the other side and then try to shoot this tank in the butt. That's how I feel you have to fight against a tank like this. Other than that, I have no other good advice for you, because this thing, I feel like this is going to be a beast. Even with all its weaknesses of 6 degrees gun depression, I think this is a pretty devastating tank to come against. If I was driving this tank, I would just go right to the front, try to side scrape, try to, as soon as you fire, push forward, put in 2 shots, 3 shots, go back into safety, wait for my 8 seconds reload. If I have time, I wait for another 10 seconds for my second shell reload, come back out again, take a hit for 390, but then I will pump 960 alpha into you again, and then rinse and repeat. This is a pretty aggressive tank. I hope they will nerf this tank a little bit more, because I feel like it's too strong. I'm not too sure. I've never played this tank. I haven't even played the KV-4 on a regular basis. It's not my kind of thing, slow lumbering. But this one with an auto reloader, imagine a projectile with armor. That's what it's going to be like. Kind of toxic in my opinion. But anyway, this is the KV-4T. What do you think? Do you want this in the game? Do you want this in the rest of the world? You want it to just stay in the RU server, I suppose, like me. But anyway, this is the KV-4T. Hope you enjoyed this video, took some useful information. I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.